Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Apologies for the slight delay in starting this program. This is hot off the press. In fact, it's not even hot off the press. It's hot off the court papers. What has happened is California state has withdrawn the case from the court on the Cisco case of caste discrimination. Why they did it and what does it mean for the other bill, SB 403, that is about to be tabled, and so on and so forth. We have the president of KONA, Nikunj Trivedi, walking us through what happened because he has put out a long tweet thread. He's intimately familiar with the details, and I'm going to invite him now to join us and tell us what this means. Is Equality Labs in trouble? Is the narrative in trouble? Nikunj, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaste. As always, a pleasure being here. Yes, as you said, this is hot off the court documents. This is a breaking news. Probably one of the biggest news that the Hindu community and the Indian American community has been waiting for many years since the filing of the Cisco lawsuit. So
3 years.
Yes, wow. 3 years since June of 2020, basically, and almost 3 years essentially. And so the courts basically have dismissed the case. The case will go into mediation, so there will be a discussion between Cisco and the plaintiff, but it'll be in a mediation at some point in May. Now, the important part is, remember, the case was dismissed. There hasn't been any kind of formal hearings and formal trials and testimonials and things like that in the entire case for all these years. There's been a lot of media, trial by media, guilt by media, and thousands and thousands of articles have referenced Cisco case, including Harvard Law School's argument to have caste as a protected category at a federal level. The Harvard Law School, references, as well as the business reviews, have mentioned caste as this Cisco lawsuit as a poster child for why caste laws must be done. So this is basically, as we said in the thread, the rug has been pulled under from the groups like Equality Labs and all of the folks who have been touting this case as the biggest case of caste discrimination. So it's a massive development. It's a great win for the Hindu community to showcase the fact that the so-called massive caste discrimination does not exist. Even data that came from Carnegie Endowment, as we have talked about before, said that the Equality Lab survey should not be relied upon. And also, they did not find any massive caste discrimination in the United States. So it's hot off the court records and court documents. This is a very positive development for the community.
Yes, indeed. And viewers, if you have been looking at castgate.org or some other websites, KONA has a lot of data on their website also, you can understand that this was what was heading over the past few weeks. Is this the reason why Aisha Wahab and that coterie tried to somehow submarine, sneak it in? That's the only way I can say, to try and get this thing in the California state, to somehow make this SB 403, pass it before this ruling comes. That's a possibility. I'm not going to say it is or it is not. But more importantly, Nikunj, the bigger concern that Equality Lab should be having is the hint that their report is not going to be considered. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm just reading what was handed down in 2021 when the court said that the permission for the use of the name Doe, DOE, which is a generic person, in the original caste discrimination case was denied. See, I'm not a lawyer again. The way I understood it is, if somebody is denied the generalization of a name and said that, no, this is not a case for Doe, which means a general Dalit, rather you have to stick with the specific, which meant that whatever the lab report, Equality Lab report they had, they would have not been able to use that in the case itself. This is my understanding. I could be wrong. The attorney who started this case quit, and there's a cloud of suspicion about how this department runs. A lot of questions being asked inside the state corridors. Nikunji, you tell me what you think is going to happen to all those people who swallowed this hook, line, and sinker. The Seattlers, the Kshama Sawants, the Toronto district, where all they went. What about California state? What is going to happen to all these things? Please walk us through a little bit, sir. I know you're tight on time. You have about 10 minutes. Just breeze through this.
No worries at all. No, this is exactly. So this is what's really important is this entire edifice was built upon. It's a house of cards that just collapsed, basically, big time. And it was all built on the Cisco lawsuit, right? This was an engineered attack on the Hindu community, as I had mentioned before. And we have been talking about this for the past 3 years since the lawsuit actually started, that this is a bogus lawsuit. California had basically defined Hinduism, which is a complete violation of our civil rights. They actually assigned religion to a guy who said that I'm an atheist and I do not believe in caste systems. I do not believe in anything. I'm not a Brahmin, any of that stuff. They assigned religion to this person. So there was an entire vilification and character assassination, number one. Number two, even in the lawsuit itself, they did not rely on Equality Labs data. They actually questioned the data right there. But this is propaganda 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥, as I mentioned before. What ends up happening is people spin so much of this and nobody looks into the details. So Cal State University systems, Harvard University, Brown University, UC Davis, you name it, all the top universities that have passed caste resolutions continue to put these reference to Cisco and reference to other things that now are going to be questioned. Now we have to essentially understand that these folks are not going to pull back the policies, but we have to put a big egg on their face saying that we told you so, and here's a perfect vindication of our statements and our positions. That's number one. Number two is any future lawsuits or any policies and bills that will be evaluated in the future, including SB 403, will be questioned now by referencing the Cisco lawsuit dismissal, saying, hey, you were saying that it is gross, and I repeat, gross or grave caste discrimination. That's how the bills have been pushing. There's grave caste discrimination, gross caste discrimination. But hey, look, Cisco case just was dismissed, and it proved that there isn't any grave caste discrimination. So there's going to be a lot of legal challenges as we go forward. But what I would say, the Hindu and the Indian American community needs to really take this head on. Now that we have this win, we need to go back to every single corridor of law and lawmakers, policymakers, school administrators, etc., and just literally put it on their face and say, here you go. We had told you that this was a bogus lawsuit. This has now been dismissed. California state has, kind of withdrawn this lawsuit. You need to reevaluate your thinking. So we're going to take this to different places ourselves, but we also urge regular Indian Americans and Hindu Americans to really do this and take it to their lawmakers. Let this be a teaching moment for our community, but also a teaching moment that we can use to educate people about how abuse of law, fraud can be used against a community. I tell people that if you think that you are immune to this caste laws because you somehow feel that I don't discriminate against anybody, I say think Cisco. Think about this lawsuit that someone who was not religious, who said I'm an atheist, I don't believe in it, he also recruited Dalit engineers, promoted Dalit engineer. The same guy who was actually suing him, right? The same person was promoted, right? Offered the position, yet he got sued. So those who think that I am above all these things, it's not going to impact us, I say think about Cisco, because this could be you. You could be the next Sundar Iyer, you could be the next Ramana Kompella. They're going to come after you with something. And hopefully now we have the opportunity to say that, look, the Cisco case has been dismissed and here's the information. So we are going to use this very widely. It's already being, the Twitter thread is blowing up. Other organizations have been talking about this quite a bit as well. So I think the social media space is going to blow up big time. But I think social media is just one. I think what needs to happen is everybody has to pitch in, take this information, go to the lawmakers, go to the policymakers, administrators, and show them. In fact, there was today, there was a session, an event at University of Michigan called Caste in the US. So whoever's coming from the Hindu community needs to go back to those same organizers and say, here you go. Here's the case dismissal from Cisco. We told you so, that there is no massive caste discrimination problem in the United States.
Yes, viewers, I'm going to put the link to the Twitter thread that Kona put out. That will be in the description section of this video. So inside that, there is a one-pager that actually tells you the court document. So there is no here, I'm giving you a Twitter thread, none of that stuff. You can download that document, make a printout, take it with you and say, this is what is posted, right? So you have to really be assertive here. You have to do this thing. You have to stand up for your rights. This is essentially a big, like he said, a castle built on cards. This lady is a fraud. Equality Labs is a fraud. It has been funded by Muslim Brotherhood and people with terrorist links. I'm telling you again and again. You can go back and look at PGurus videos. How many times do we have to prove that this is dubious? Humadar, who is she? Anyway, my point here is, at least now, if Aaishah Wahab wants to have a future in politics, this is my unasked for advice to a young person who might be talented, who might have what it takes to succeed in politics. Withdraw that SB 403, save face. And I'm going to tell you something very interesting, Nikunj. Tomorrow there is a town hall meeting. Mr. Khanna is coming. And he is not going to escape questioning on this because he kept quiet up until now. And this is going to be a problem. Congressman Khanna has a problem on his hands. I'm going to be covering that live. There are going to be rallies in front of the place where he is having the town hall meeting. I'm going to be covering that live tomorrow. So do join me. That will be Wednesday morning for India, Tuesday evening for United States, 5:45 Pacific. So 8:45 in the evening, prime time for East Coasters. So do watch PGurus to know more about it. Nikunj, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come talk to us about this. You put an excellent thread, my friend, and we are going to put that thing there. Also, castgate.org. Look at that, because everything that is happening, it was so obvious when you saw how that case started in 2015. The poor man, Sundar Iyer, gave away all the money that he could have earned as a CEO to all his employees. And this is how the employee comes and bites you. That person is a multimillionaire. The guy who said he's a Dalit and he's being ill-treated.
So that's the whole point, exactly.
Yeah. You read that castgate.org, your blood will boil. There are people without jobs. They are fighting for their bread for the next day. And this guy, it's a total lie. And I'm determined that this is going to we're going to make sure that truth prevails. Nikunj, if you have something to say in conclusion, please feel free, and then we can call it a wrap.
Yeah, I encourage all Californians to rise up. And you need to stop for SB 403, because this entire thing has been built on a house of cards such as Cisco, and this just collapsed. So that's really, really important. Think about our future generation. Just because somebody has a particular last name, your child is born and raised in the United States, is now being profiled and prejudiced against because they have a certain last name, certain dietary habits, and they can be at risk as far as their violation of the civil rights. So this is not just about us. It's about our future generations and generations after future generations, because these laws are not like, okay, it's a 10-year expiration date. No, these stay permanently. So we need to take a stance in opposing SB 403. We need to unite. Senator Wahab has been duped, unfortunately, by these types of folks to say that there's widespread caste discrimination. She may mean well. I mean, everybody wants to do the right thing, fight against injustice and things like that, but don't fight injustice based on a house of cards that are just essentially collapsed after the Cisco dismissal. So we have to take full advantage of this momentum and push back against SB 403 in a professional, courteous manner, engage with her office, engage with the lawmakers, engage with the Senate Judiciary Committee. Go to kona.org/SB-403 and you will get the information. So just visit our website, kona.org, KOHNA.org, and you will get information of how to take action against SB 403.
Thank you so much, Nikunj. And viewers, that's all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Once again, thank you so much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.